freaking first cut. Golly. Welcome to the First Cut Podcast. I'm Rick Gehman, and this is your Saturday recap for this week's Wyndham Championship. Joining me to break it all down is Greg DuCharme. Greg, how are you? How's your day going?
I'm doing great. My day is going very well. Very unique episode. You mentioned early there, day 3 episode of, Saturday recap of the Wyndham Championship, but round 2 is still still on the way, still going on. So it's very unique based on the weather. But Rick, I think with the weather situation we have going on, there's a really good chance that they get a healthy amount of this tournament done tomorrow.
It seems that way. Yes. So where we currently stand, it is Saturday evening. We've got about an hour and a half of sunlight left in Greensboro right now. The first round has finally been completed, and the second round is almost complete. There is an entire wave that is done, and there is another wave that is through. Almost all of them are through 9 holes. Many of them will finish tonight. There will be seemingly, Greg, a handful of groups. So, they're making the turn. They've got an hour and a half of daylight. Maybe they play 4 more holes. There's probably a handful of groups that will have to finish 5 or 6 holes tomorrow morning of round 2.
Yes. You don't want to be on the cut line right now. Because if you're on the cut line right now, it's a full week stay, and you might leave without making any money.
Yeah.
So you don't want to be sitting there. But if you're up there in the mix, it's going to be a long day of golf tomorrow. You know that right now, but at least you're playing, and you kind of have a wide open runway between Sunday and Monday morning to get this thing wrapped up.
So if we get most guys done tonight and a handful of groups that have to play somewhere between 1 and 6 holes on Sunday morning, could they conceivably still finish this tournament on Sunday?
So let's do a little math here. Now, some of this is guesstimation. Let's say you start at 650 and you got a couple groups with 5 holes to go.
Mm-hmm.
That takes an hour. So 750. Mm-hmm. You're able to get some early groups off at 850.
Mm-hmm.
Split tees, threesomes. 850, you got 5 hours per round. You got 2 rounds to play. That takes 10 hours. That puts you at 650. If you have 2 hours of tee times, that puts you at 850. Very, very tight.
Let me try another piece of math. The groups that have to finish tee off at 650. The third round simultaneously starts at 650, right? Because those guys are going to be on holes 13 through 18 and 3 through 9.
Well, that's great in theory, but
yes, I was going to say the problem's the cut line.
Right. So if it was the third round going into the fourth round, like if this was the third round right now and we weren't quite finished, it would be no issue because you could do that. You could get started simultaneously, but it gets really complicated with the cut line.
Would they be willing or able to send off guys that are not at the top of the leaderboard, but are like definitely going to make the cut?
Send off some guys that are at like 5 under par.
Yeah, like T27. Like you guys are the first ones off.
Well, let me put it to you this way, Rick. I'm glad I'm not making those kind of decisions because you would want to, but it just would seem to throw off everything because there's a very good likelihood that you can't repair going into the fourth round.
You're not going to be able to repair. You might eventually get a winner that finishes like 3 hours before the last group finishes.
Yeah, you'd rather not have that. Or like we saw with Brandt Snedeker, who just won the Payne Stewart Award. Like we saw with Brandt Snedeker back at he finished on Sunday. Everybody else finished Monday, and he won.
Yes. So I actually think it is possible that we finish. It's possible that we finish on Sunday, but I don't think it's going to happen because of that cut situation.
Yeah, it's very tight. But that does mean there's not a whole lot of golf to be played on Monday. You're probably looking at the same thing, right? 5 or so holes.
5 or so. Yeah, it's probably the same amount of golf that we will need to finish of round 2 on Sunday morning is what we will need to finish of round 4 on Monday. And it also is conceivable, not to put like a total wet blanket on this. Those guys who come back on Monday, they might be playing for a lot, but that winner might not even be in that group on Monday. You could have that's the Snedeker where he just comes to the golf course in case there's a playoff.
It's very possible. And I don't think that's a wet blanket. It could be really interesting to watch. Could be very interesting to watch. So we'll see what happens with all of this. But the good news is we're getting 72 holes in. That's going to happen.
Everything we just laid out, that might not ever come to fruition, or who knows? But we've got round 1 and round 2 updates certainly. So let's get you into round 2 here. And there were plenty of low scores throughout the day. So Aaron Rai was one of the early movers here, Greg. He has now posted back-to-back 65s. It was a 5 under 65 in his second round, highlighted by an eagle on the par 5 15th. He is currently posted at 10 under par, which is a popular number. It is 1 shot off the lead at this point, and this is more continued stellar play from Mr. Rai.
It's stellar play from him. He is so simple. It is so easy to watch him play because it's fairways, it's greens. Give yourself a number of really good looks for birdie, and he's starting to make more of them. He hasn't done a whole lot with his putting. I think he hit 8 shots today or more inside of 15 feet. He gave himself a ton of looks. I looked at this a while ago, but I think he hit 8 shots inside of 15 feet and made 4 of them. And that might even have been 10 feet. So he's hitting it really close to the hole. And that comes, he's given himself these opportunities because he's able to hit 12 fairways. So he hits 12 fairways. You add in the 4 par 3s. He's given himself 16 opportunities with the ball in his hand and a clean lie. And he's so accurate and so precise. He gives himself a ton of looks. And it's a ton of shots that are coming right in his wheelhouse in that kind of 125 to 150 range, even 160 range. And he's excelling. So Aaron Rai looks really good right now. This looks like a really steady kind of performance that definitely has the legs to last.
Yeah, we're basically in month 3 of this. So Aaron Rai continues to be putting it together. He's applying a lot of pressure on a guy at the top of the board who doesn't have a ton of winning experience. We'll talk about him in just a little bit. But let's talk about Billy Horschel. He kickstarts his year kind of a few months ago with that opposite field victory. And then, of course, the runner-up finish, the close call at the Open Championship. He had to finish his opening round on Saturday, Greg. He posted a 62, a great round. And then he had to go immediately right back out for round number 2. Wasn't able to carry over the same stellar momentum, but he posts a 2 under 68. That is 1 shot better than the field average. It was 3 bogeys and 3 bogeys and 5 birdies on that scorecard to get to 2 under.
Right. And look, 5 birdies is really nice. He got both the par 5s, added in a couple additional. The challenge was the bogeys that he made. And 2 of those were 3 putts, which just they crush momentum. And that was the feeling I got out of this round from Billy Horschel. It was really good. He had a chance to get on a little run on a couple of occasions, but 3 putt bogeys at both 16 and 6 really kind of derailed him. And that was disappointing. At the same time, when you go shoot 62 in the opening round, you put a lot of stock in the bank and you save up a lot and you can afford a slow round. You can afford some mistakes like that and still keep yourself in the mix for the tournament. So hopefully that's the bad round for Billy. But when I look at his performance, I don't think there's anything that really stands out to me that says, hey, this isn't going to last. yeah, I think what Billy Horschel has done so far this week is really sustainable. If he can clean up his work on the greens a little bit, continue to give himself birdie opportunities, things could go really well over the last 2 rounds. So today's round, again, the highlight to me is the bogeys. He didn't hit it nearly as close to the hole in round 2 as he did in round 1. But I still think his game is in a really good form.
Speaking of sustainability, and actually before I do just that, actually, I'm not going to do the Mark Friday night, in this case, Saturday night reminder that both Patrick and I have Billy Horschel and one and done. I'm not going to do that. Okay? I would never do something like that. I'm definitely not going to do it right now. Speaking of sustainability, Chad Ramey follows up his opening 65 with a 64. He is currently second in the field in strokes gained putting. That's the question of sustainability, over 5.5 strokes gained with the flat stick. And Greg, this is a guy who I'm quite sure we talked about on Monday, because he had started to play better. He was the guy down the board who was starting to lay a few breadcrumbs, a couple of good starts in a row. When he plays well, he can get to the top of the leaderboard. I'm not sure how confident I am in him winning this golf tournament, but nice to see him get out of the gates. He's currently 11 under, and as we speak in this moment, it might change in a minute, but as we speak right now, he's the outright leader of the Wyndham Championship.
Yes. And look, this is a really, really strong performance from him. He handled the second 9 very well. Only made the 1 birdie at number 15. The second 9 is playing much more difficult than the first 9. He made 4 birdies on the first 9 in round 1, and he made 5 birdies on the first 9 in round 2. And then just 3 total bogeys, three total birdies on the second 9 and no bogeys. So, I mean, this is a really nice way to put things together. And while if you look at these stats and you see the kind of heavy lean to the putting, that may be an alarm bell, but he's still, 4 of these 6 birdies came from inside of 10 feet, right? He's still hitting some pretty high quality iron shots and giving himself looks. So I think it's a little more sustainable than the stats when you look at these actual rounds that he's played. The big concern for me is his track record. And we've seen Chad Ramey pop up on leaderboards early in tournaments. I can't remember a time when he's been really in close contention coming down the stretch, even though he's won on the PGA Tour before. He won an opposite field event, right? Or no?
No, I think he did. I think he did the same time. Who was the other guy, big guy, who won in Puerto Rico on his last?
Ryan Brehm.
Right. I think it was around that time. I think the Ramey Brehm wins came very close to one another.
Yes, I think you're right. And I'll get this win. He deserves it. Career wins 1. It was the Corrales Punta Cana Championship in 2022. Okay.
So I think, hold on a second. Yeah. And Brehm won the 2022 Puerto Rico. So they won those 2 opposite field events, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. 2 opposite field events. But still, like, just 1 top 10 finish this year. And it was the top 10 finish was the Zurich Classic.
Josh is telling me that those 2 wins by those 2 guys were 3 weeks apart. So we are dialed.
Right 2 years ago, we remember it like it was yesterday.
Absolutely. Well, here's what we've got to do. We got to get to that afternoon wave. There are guys on the leaderboard right now making moves, applying a little bit of pressure at the top of the leaderboard. We'll get to that. We'll look at the betting favorites, and we'll see how much golf we can get in here over the final hour or so of sunlight. But first, we're going to take a quick break.
There are some things in life that you can't quite explain.
An extraordinary story.
Maybe it sounds flawless, looks effortless, or makes you feel like a part of history.
The first ever goal for BFC.
And when all of those phenomenons come together, it's perfect. Pitch perfect.
And we're back. Oh my goodness, Max Greyserman, who, Greg, we sat here on Monday and we looked at his profile and we said, wow, this guy's really trending in the right direction. He's playing great. All the metrics were there. And we said, you know what? Was that runner-up finish at the 3M? Was that the peak? Was it? And Max listened and he said, no. It was not, gentlemen, because he is currently 9 under par through 16 holes in his second round. He started his second round by making not 1, not 2, not 3, not 4, 5 birdies in a row. It was his Steph Curry moment out there. And if you think that was good, he nearly did it again on the back 9. 4 consecutive birdies from 12 through 15 on the back. So he's got all of his work in 2 stretches, one where he made 5 birdies in a row, another where he made 4 birdies in a row. He is currently playing the 17th hole, so he's got a hole and a half to play, and Greyserman is just 1 off the lead.
Yes, and birdie is the magic number 59. He's 120 yards in the fairway at number 17 right now. So we'll see what he's able to do there. Rick, I will also completely take the fall for Max Greyserman hit his peak at the 3M Open because that was my concern. But you're right. All the metrics have been there, and they've been on full display in round 2. If he didn't hit it close to the hole, he's knocking it in from long range. And it seems like on the front 9 on this run that he really went on, he was making longer putts. He made a 30-footer at number 1, 27 feet, and they just kept getting closer and closer and closer. His confidence was rising. His iron shots were going closer and closer and closer to the hole, and he just kept filling them in, capping them off with birdies, putting circles on the card. And then he got the really big bonus at number 14, making a 60-footer right before a par 5, which he was also able to capitalize on. So this has been really, really good stuff from Max Greyserman.
I don't want to brag, Greg, but let me tell you about my day. I played Pinehurst number 10 this morning, and then I sat at hospitality at the 17th green at the Wyndham Championship. I'm having a good one, but I'll tell you what, I did not see many birdies at 17 where Greyserman is right now, but the birdies that did happen came from the fairway. That's been a very important factor. So there is a chance that he can stuff another one close here. It's a little wedge in, and then 18 is a difficult one, but there's an outside look at 59 here.
It's a look for sure. 120 yards in with soft greens. Any hole becomes a birdie hole. Not that it's easy. And then you go to 18 with a chance. I know it's a 500-yard par 4. I know it's a challenge, but it's certainly doable. And when you got 59 on the line, perhaps you're a little more aggressive. Also, Pinehurst number 10, the new one. What'd you think?
The new one, Greg. It was sick. It was so it just like a very last minute, like, hey, we need a 4th. And I was like, I got a car. I'll be there. Right.
I got my clubs.
Yeah, I got my clubs. I got a car. I'll see you in the morning. So first tee time out, definitely lived up to the hype. I mean, the first of all, it's, obviously completely like sand based. So it was in immaculate condition, even after all the rain. Really, really cool. All the Pinehurst features that you'd want, right? The pine straw, those native areas, the undulating greens, but probably a little more fun and fair than some of the more difficult ones that they have over there. It's
like number 2.
Yeah.
Okay. That's good.
It was a blast. And we walked it. Yeah, we walked it, which, walking a golf course is sick.
The only way to do it.
It's the only way to do it. Beau Hossler had his own 59 watch this week. Feels like a century ago at this point, but he ended up shooting a 60 in the opening round. That was 10 under par. Greg, I hate to alert you, he's still stuck at 10 under par. 2 birdies and 2 bogeys as he plays the 4th hole, which is his 13th hole of the day, right? 9, 10, 11, 12, 13th hole of the day. So a little bit stuck in neutral. I always feel a couple different ways about this. Sometimes I think it's a sign that he will just be fading over the course of the final couple rounds. But listen, he did a lot of work yesterday. It doesn't matter how you get to the final score as long as you get there.
Right. You figure you got to get to 20 or so under par. And if you can get a couple more today, you're in a really good place to make that happen. Whether this round is 68 like Billy Horschel shot, or you make 5 birdies coming in and shoot 65 like Aaron Rai, it doesn't really matter. You got to get to that winning number one way or the other. The concerning aspect for Beau Hossler today was what we saw off the tee. And this has been a serious case of the lefts. He's teeing off on the right side of the tee box, indicates you want to hit a cut, and he's hitting a hook. So he's fighting a serious double cross anytime he has the driver in his hands. That's the concerning part heading into the final 2 rounds, because it just limits your ability. When he's been in the fairway in round 2, he's given himself looks, right? He's hit some really good shots. Number 1, he hit it over the green, made an unfortunate bogey. But for the most part, from the fairway, he's given himself looks. But I'm really concerned with this off the tee performance. Beau Hossler has struggled with his ball striking all year. He's outside the top 100, both off the tee and approaching the green, and has gotten himself to this place where he can make the playoffs if he wins, or probably comes in second on his putting and short game. But I don't think that's going to hold up with two full rounds to go, almost 2.5 full rounds to go. So he's going to have to figure something out off the tee in order to stay in contention this week.
Yeah, that 60 was a little bit playing with fire the way that he did it. So we've got Chad Ramey at the top of the board, 11 under par. We've got Aaron Rai and Billy Horschel in at 10 under. Greyserman has a 24-footer for birdie to get to 11 under, so he's still at 10. Beau Hossler still at 10. Justin Suh just finished up his round at 9 under. We've got a couple more out on the golf course like Patrick Rogers and Matt Kuchar also at 9 under. So that's where things start to get interesting, Greg. You know, you've got Kuchar, who's got a couple of holes to play, just 2 off the lead. Cam Young's got 4 holes to go. He's just 4 off the lead. Davis Thompson, Vince Whaley. So there will be a little bit of those guys moving up to the top of the leaderboard over the next hour or so. We've got about an hour and 15 minutes of sunlight left. Is there anybody on that list that you think is absolutely worth keeping an eye on as the sun begins to set?
Well, I think Cameron Young is absolutely worth keeping an eye on. I'm very curious to see what he does. He had a great round going in round 2. He shot 30 going out, made 3 birdies and an eagle at number 5, made a birdie at 11. Then at number 12, he hit the green and putted it off the green and made double bogey, which was really disappointing because it was probably a yard away from being a really good tee shot and having a really good look at birdie. And he walks off of there with double. So he's back at 7 under. And I still think with the par 5 15th remaining, and Cam Young's firepower, I still think he has what it takes to get in the mix. Seems like he's putting a little bit better. He's hitting some really high quality iron shots. I like what I've seen out of Cam Young, with the exception of the mistake at number 12.
Yeah, double at 12, but he offset that with the eagle at number 5. So he's got a fun little scorecard going, and he is currently playing the par 5 15th. He's in the right fairway, and he is absolutely going to be able to get home in 2, or at least close to the green. It's only 200 yards in. They will play for another hour or so. These odds will change a bit, but let's see what Vegas has. Do we have that available, Josh? We do. Of course we do. Okay. I'm going to have to zoom in on this. Billy Horschel is the favorite, 5.5 to 1. Aaron Rai 7 to 1. Beau Hossler 10. Matt Kuchar at 9. They just flip flopped. Max Greyserman is 7. Chad Ramey is 12 to 1. Not a lot of respect coming for the Camp Ramey here. I don't know what I was expecting to see, Greg, but I don't think I was expecting to see that.
No, I wasn't expecting to see that either. I mean, Davis Thompson is pretty interesting because you know about his firepower. He's at 7, just like Cam Young, and they're right around the same odds, 14 for Thompson, 16 for Cam Young. I think those are both definitely players to keep your eye on. I liked what I saw at Billy Horschel. I liked the Matt Kuchar play. He's at 9. He's only 2 back.
I like a lot of these.
The thing about Kuchar is he has to win to get into the playoffs. Right? He just has to win. So I can't wait to see what he does. Another guy we talked about on Monday with a little bit of an eye roll, albeit, but
yeah, because he's so annoying. He's annoyingly good right now. I hate it.
Yeah, he's very good.
Dude, Aaron Rye has been one of the best players on tour this year. He's 7-1. He's 1 shot back of Chad Ramey.
Yeah. Yeah, I know. I know. He's 4th in strokes gained total for the year.
He's been and that is not even super reflective of the fact that in his last 5 starts he learned how to putt.
Yeah, and there's a reason for it, right? He started working with a new putting coach. It's clearly working.
I'm ready for the Rye victory.
Yeah. Yeah, yesterday on our Sports Network show, he was your guy.
Yeah. In
one of the categories. He was your guy to make a big run.
Yeah, I mean, I think he's just outside the top 50 for the FedEx Cup, 52 or so. I don't know. Started the week somewhere in there. Certainly make a run if he won this. That would help. That would help out in the playoffs quite a bit.
This would move him. Well, right now in a tie for 3rd, 3-way tie for 3rd, he's projected 46th. I could tell you where he started. I
want to say like 56th, I thought, or 52nd or something.
53rd. You're right 53rd. On it.
Yeah.
You're right on it. So yeah, big week for Aaron Rye. And he's clearly the best player. No disrespect to Billy Horschel, but yeah, he's been the best player this year. So that's a good one.
Okay, well, here's what's going to happen. They are going to play until that sun that is currently coming in my window and blinding me until that goes down, and they squeeze every bit of sunlight out of this place, and they'll get right back at it early on Sunday. We are not likely going to finish this tournament on Sunday, but I think an early Monday finish will make sense, but it doesn't matter. However it finishes, and however we need to recap this thing, and however we need to get you ready for Memphis, we are going to do that. That is the commitment that we will do here on the First Cut Pod. Any final thoughts, Greg, before we get out of here?
I'm looking forward to seeing how this leaderboard shakes up for the rest of the evening. It's wild that it's only the 2nd round. So there's still a ton of golf to go. And as you can see with rounds like Beau Hossler and Billy Horschel, there are opportunities for big comebacks. You go shoot some Greyserman made a birdie.
Oh, Mad Max.
Okay, so Max Greyserman shot 69 in round 1. He's now tied for the lead. He has a chance to shoot 59.
He's a birdie away from 59. Is this on TV anywhere right now?
Before we started, it was on Golf Channel.
Okay.
PGAtour.com, I believe, also has it.
Okay.
And CBSSports.com, of course.
Okay. Of course.
But he was 9 back. He shoots 11. He gets to 10 under, and he's all of a sudden tied for the lead. So I think tomorrow you're going to see a lot of big swings because there's leaderboard gravity. People will feel it. So it's going to be really fun to watch.
All right, I'm going to watch to see if Max can make 59. We will be back when we will be back to talk about golf. That is Greg DuCharme. You can find him at The Real GFD. Producer Josh does all the hard work behind the scenes. You can find me at Rick Run Good. This has been The First Cut. We'll catch you next time.